Self-Publishing Podcast, episode number 161.
This episode of the Self-Publishing Podcast is brought to you by 99 Designs. The online marketplace helps you get outstanding book cover designs at an affordable price. Start your custom design today at 99designs.com/SPP and enjoy a free Power Pack upgrade valued at $99.
Welcome to the Self-Publishing Podcast, where if you want something done right, you've got to do it yourself. And now, here are your hosts, three guys who sometimes shower together. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Johnny, Sean, and Dave.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Self-Publishing Podcast, the podcast that follows three full-time authors as we attempt to change the face of indie publishing. Join us and our trailblazing guests as we shove aside boundaries, freely experiment, and liberally screw up. I'm Johnny B. Truant. My co-hosts are Sean Platt and David Wright. And keeping in the theme of pre-optimizing before optimizing the relaunch of SPP, I will just tell you that our guest today will be author JA Huss, who just is, she's got amazing street team cred, basically. Like, that's the main thing we wanted to talk to her about, but she actually came to our attention because she wrote a book that just totally kicked Sean's and my asses yet. It hasn't kicked Dave's ass yet, but if he reads it, it probably will.
Well, never mind.
Yeah, we won't go into that. But having a great street team is super important. It's something that we're trying to build right now. And she's able to just get a ton of good reviews and launch her books kind of astronomically by indie standards, just because she's got a real nice street team.
Sean was going to bag on me.
I wasn't going to bag on you. I was.
Yeah, you're gonna bitch because I started a book before you and you finished, and I'm still at the 50% mark. But that's okay.
I actually wasn't even going to say that at all. I was going to say that in White Space 2 there's dude on dude action. And in 3-2-1, there's also dude-on-dude action. So I was going to say something about you.
I like how there's no way. I like how there's no way to predict which way Sean will be bagging on Dave. It's a veritable cornucopia of mockery.
Dude-on-dude action.
I do enjoy too. I was just saying this a second ago. Since Dave is still on the day schedule, Dave and Daytime. It's a different Dave. It's just a slightly more upbeat, slightly more awake Dave. It's kind of like the parable of the lion with a thorn in his paw. Maybe he was just waking up too near showtime every day.
By the way, I woke up at 1 o'clock today. I got knocked off my schedule this weekend.
Uh-oh.
No.
Get back on the horse.
So this giddy Dave you're seeing is actually nighttime Dave. He's back! Yes!
No, I think you need to
Nighttime
go to bed
Dave is
early,
back.
like a good boy.
You do.
Yeah,
And
we can't lose this. It's been too long.
I'm also enjoying that. I think that I just like to see a show of hands. I think that when we optimize SPP and do kind of the relaunch,
I think the relaunch needs to happen on Skype.
anyone on that? I was listening back to the show and I'm like, boy, I can hear everything I'm saying twice. It's awesome because I love hearing myself speak.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
Yeah, the Google stuff is terrible. I think we need to, for the audio version at least, go to Skype. It's just better. Is he frozen again for you?
Johnny froze. Yeah. All right.
Oh, pre-optimized. There we go.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's going to be a fun show.
Oh, this is fantastic.
So, cool thing of the week. You got a cool thing this week?
I was going to ask about that local sports team, but yeah, what is cool? So I saw a new, well, okay, let's talk about Netflix because I really, really love what they're trying to do. I think we talked about this a little bit on our meeting yesterday, didn't we? About how they're kind of trying so many new things and they've got new shows coming out, and I already think that it took HBO a long time to, really produce amazing shows like, the Game of Thrones caliber that they have now. And it seems like Netflix is just coming out swinging. They didn't have that cooling period. They're not taking them a long time to warm up. House of Cards is great. Orange is the New Black is great. I just finished watching Daredevil. That was I was surprised how good that was. And so they're doing comedies. I've seen 2 of their comedies so far. One was I forget what it's called, The Unbeatable Someone or Other. It's with the girl.
Kimmy Schmidt. It was from NBC, actually. They picked it up because it flopped on the network, so they picked it up.
Oh, okay. Well, I loved her. She was fantastic. And I could feel Tina Fey there. It didn't totally work for me, but it was.
It's a quirky show. It's good.
Yeah. And then last night I started that. Have you seen that Grace and Frankie show?
No.
Okay, so I'll talk just a little bit about Grace and Frankie. Grace and Frankie.
You do know I'm back, right? Just so
no,
you know.
we're ignoring. No.
This feels like a sidebar discussion that started, and I'm just wondering where it's going.
Okay. We're talking about Sean's cool thing, Netflix.
I think that Google heard that we were considering trying to make the show better.
Sean discovered Netflix, and he's telling us about it. So go ahead, Sean. Continue.
All right. So Grace and Frankie, I want to applaud the concept and the balls on the show, and just say that I hope it gets funnier. It's from it's from Marta Kaufman, who I've only seen the pilot and then the second episode, and it does, they have to establish the characters and all of that, and there's a lot of setup here. But basically, it's these two lawyers who have been business partners forever, and they've been married to their wives for like 40 years each, and then they take everyone to dinner, and they basically are coming out, and they're both leaving their wives because they're in love with each other, and then they're gonna go. And the wives hate each other, and now they have to become friends to like help each other through this.
It's kind of like you and Johnny.
Right, yes. Just like that. So it's super high concept, and and Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda are the two female leads, and Sam Waterston and Martin Sheen are the two males. And it was interesting to see a comedy, especially with like 7-year-old people like smoking peyote and yelling motherfucker, which like happened throughout the show. But it wasn't as funny as I wanted it to be, and I'm really hoping it is, because just cursing isn't enough to make a show funny.
Well, clearly they should have hired the writers of Redacted. Then it would have been a comedy masterpiece.
It would have been a classic. So anyway, big props to Netflix for just having balls and trying different stuff. And I'm going to watch more tonight, and I hope it gets awesome.
We talked a little bit about Netflix, disrupting things, and even disrupting, our own efforts, like with serialized stuff. Like, binge watching is a thing because of Netflix.
Right.
Well, they have a new series out, and I forget the damn name of it. I just saw it last night, but they're doing one episode a week.
What?
Yeah, I'm Carrie. I'm with it. I'm down with it.
Huh. What's the show? This isn't the Wachowski brothers one, right?
No. It is. I think it was like a sci-fi or maybe horror. I don't remember. It was something up our alley, though. I'll let you know next time. I should have wrote it down.
I'm curious.
Okay.
So, John, do you have anything cool other than getting working?
Well, I was gonna report on the BookBub ad for Invasion. I think that's relevant to this audience. Yes?
Oh yeah, that's very cool. Definitely.
And I just assume you don't care if I talk numbers and stuff, right, Sean? You never seem to. Yeah. So I think this is a really good example of commerciality and pro cover in action. And this is, and by the way, before I continue down that road, I think it's important to say this is the answer is not like this was a very good ad. The answer is not let's only write stuff that we think would do well in a BookBub ad. That's just ridiculous. I don't want to say that at all. But that said, alien invasion is a popular genre, and we do happen to have a very kick-ass cover for that. And so it performed very, very well, and I think that speaks to how important those things are and how people really do judge a book by its cover. It went. What we did, and we'll see if this was the right idea or not, is rather than what we normally do with a BookBub ad is we book the ad, see where BookBub puts it, and then stack advertising behind it, typically. So if the BookBub ad went on Monday, then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we would try to book ads with like eReader News Today or Kindle Books and Tips. And this time I tried them in front. There were a few reasons for that. Number one was just experimentation. Number two was to see if an elevated ranking before BookBub hit would make a difference. And number three was just personally, I'd like to hit the USA Today list. And USA Today measures Monday through Sunday. So if we want to pack more stuff in a week for that, it has to be prior to the ad. So we had about 7 days of ads, and it ticked up pretty much immediately to around the 1,000, 1,500 mark. And those ads just kind of buoyed it. I think ENT did the best out of all the ads. But then when BookBub hit, I think we set a new company record. What was the old record as to how high on the paid charts we've gone?
I don't know. I wish I did.
I thought you.
I think yesterday's gone has cracked top 20 and Z both. I think.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not positive.
Okay. Well, then we haven't set a new record. But Z did it on a daily deal, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they both would have been daily deals.
Oh, so yesterday's gone. Okay, so it is probably a new BookBub record then.
Yeah, I don't know
I'd say
how
for
high
sure,
we went with
no,
BookBub.
For sure, it's a BookBub record. Yeah.
So
'cause deal of the day is its own beast. I mean, that's Amazon.
Right.
Sometimes
So-
it doesn't do as well. I've seen deals of the day that didn't even crack top 200.
So we the highest Amazon rank was 22, and what I thought was pretty cool about that was that it then hung. It's still in the top 100. It's 86 right now as I look at this, and it is more than 48 hours since the ad. So we saw earlier peaking than I expected. Sean and I were noticing this live. Normally we note that a BookBub, the sales start to rank around dinner time Eastern, and they started around noon. So I don't know if BookBub has changed their distribution. I know somebody who might have an answer to that, though. I'll have to ask him as to what he's ascertained about BookBub. It hit 20 on the iBook store, and I forgot to watch Barnes & Noble. I can't watch Kobo because they're all different, and Canada is where they get their biggest action. I should have asked Mark to see how high it went there, but I know it hit the top 50. And on Barnes & Noble, I caught it when it was around 8.
It seemed like it was around 20 on Kobo also.
On Kobo, but that you would have been seeing the U.S. charts because you can't see the
Oh,
Canadian
yeah,
charts.
That's true.
So it did well on Kobo, and Barnes & Noble, I saw it when it was 8 in the store, but I think that was the second day. So I gotta think top 5, maybe even 1 or 2 or 3. I don't know. I could probably ask. And it sold on that ad. I think it sold about 3,500 total if you count both days. But some of that may be natural momentum. It may be, it's visible in the top 100, so it stays in the top 100. And just very, very encouraged by that result. And I think that speaks to the iteration that we've been doing and the optimization that we've been doing with our line.
Yeah, for sure. And I think next time it'll get even better. I think this is something. I mean, we just keep going to bat, right? But with BookBub too. I mean, we turned around. We haven't heard yet, but we turned right around and entered our next, title. Like, take us again, because we've got the catalog, and if we can, which is one of the reasons it would be nice to see, more competition for BookBub, simply because it just feels so hat in hand to kind of sit there and wait and beg permission. And we all indie publish because we don't like asking for permission, right? So it kind of sucks.
So yeah, it was. I'm noticing a few things about the trending. It didn't go quite as high as I would have thought. Well, no, I guess it probably did. Because
you just had super high expectations.
I did, but I was based on where it was. Like we got into the movers and shakers. I don't think that means much anymore though, because it's not a very visible list. I was sort of thinking it might be a top 10, but we didn't get that high. But Apple seems to be a little stickier, not surprising. Barnes & Noble seems to be a little stickier, but Amazon is hanging in there, and I think that what might be happening is there may be a lot of just like the book itself is just selling because it's more visible. It just may be that maybe it's not downsliding as fast because normally after a BookBub you just got the big push from the BookBub, and then you don't have that. But if you're selling organically, then it props it up. So I was surprised that I went to bed last night and it was still 46, I think. And so it'd be cool to hang in there for a bit, but we'll see.
That show on Netflix is called Between. Thanks to Amy for pointing that out in the YouTube comments.
Do you know another thing
Sci-fi.
that Amy? Go ahead.
It's a sci-fi drama. So go ahead. What?
Well, do you know because I don't know if you noticed the other thing that Amy said in the comments there. She's very confused about where to get a book cover, and I just didn't know if you had any thoughts. I thought you were deliberately skipping that because we don't know who to refer people to. When
I didn't see that. The comments are all wonky.
Sure, but it's very convenient, Dave.
Yeah, Amy clearly hasn't been listening to this show long enough, because if she had been, she would know that the place to go for book covers is 99designs.com. There is where you will find millions, maybe zillions. Is it up to zillions yet? Do they have zillions of designers yet?
I got a report actually just now that it is up to zillions.
Good. Okay, so there are zillions of designers competing to give you the perfect book cover. You go there, you tell them, what kind of cover you want. You maybe show them some examples of other book covers you see, and there will be designers competing to give you the best looking cover that you could possibly get for your book and put it up there. I mean, it's amazing. We have more great covers than we can even choose from every time we've used them. Right now, 12 was done by 99 Designs. Our Dark Crossings collection was done by 99 Designs. Both beautiful covers. Love them. And the best part is, if you use 99 Designs, and for some reason all zillion designers don't come up with something, you have nothing to lose. Get your money back.
Nothing to lose. Nothing to lose, except possibly your dignity for unrelated reasons, maybe. I don't think they can.
Well, I misspoke. You don't get your money. You don't pay. I mean, if you do it and you don't like it, you don't pay. But that's not going to happen because every time we've done it, we've had more than we could choose from. So yeah.
So start your custom design today at 99designs.com/SPP, and that link will get you a free Power Pack upgrade. Power Pack upgrade. That's one word. Valued at $99, which will get you more designer attention, and on average you get about 185% more designs. And like Dave said, shocking, I didn't know this, nothing to lose. So there you go. Good. Well, thank you for asking that question, Amy, because otherwise our audience never would have known. All right, well, I have sent the link off to our guest, so now and this is like, look at this. We started on time.
This is pre-optimization, y'all.
15 minutes. By the time we get to the relaunch, we're going to be up and running. We did a tidy little ad read. It's funny. Remember when they used to send the scripts? That was fun.
Right. You know what's funny? So I've been listening to podcasts again. I tend to binge a little. Like I'll listen to what's Netflix. They change my behavior, right? So I'll listen to a bunch. And I've been listening to a bunch right now. And they all take their ad reads very seriously.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
It's
what?
They do. They stop and it's a script. You can tell they're reading a script. And I
heard Startup has one, doesn't he? Doesn't Startup have a 99 Designs?
I'm not sure. It's been a while since I listened to Startup. But yeah, they're all over the place, and it's very funny how pro other ad reads are. And I try to imagine us doing that, and I can't. Like,
yeah, mockery upon them for their proness. We are much better with our lack of professionalism.
I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying, like, I genuinely.
Oh, I am. I'm going there.
I can't imagine. Like, Dave does a great job with the pre-roll at the beginning.
That's professional.
That's very professional, right?
It is.
But if we had actually stopped the show midway to be professional and read an ad, I don't think I'd dig that very much. Maybe, but I don't know. I like the way we do it. It's painful, awkward, and funny.
Well, don't worry. Nobody else is ever going to pay us to say anything ever again.
Well,
there you go.
That's awesome.
All right, so I see Julie joining us. We tried a test Hangout this morning, and it went with moderate success. So hopefully it'll work out this time. Are you there? I just see your avatar.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Can't see you yet.
Can you see me?
No.
Oh.
Only darkness.
Damn.
But that's okay. It's like looking into Dave's heart.
I just don't know how to work this thing. I'm sorry.
That's
Last
okay.
time I got a little like join thing, but this time I don't see it. Like
right.
allow my camera or whatever.
We can see your very suggestive avatar.
Isn't that
We
lovely?
can see your avatar.
There is a little gear above you. If you click that,
I
your
see
webcam.
it.
Yeah, and that will allow you to choose your webcam.
And or if the little camera is slashed out at the top, or actually it is if it's red at the top.
Be careful. Once you turn it on, Dave might be able to see into your life forever.
Okay, I can click it, but it's not coming on.
Oh, well, we can just talk to you then, right? We can do that. You can also jump out and come back in. It doesn't really matter to us. Whatever you want to do, we're perfectly content just talking to you like this.
Okay.
Let's do that.
All right.
Okay. Yay!
Awkward at
Google.
all.
This isn't awkward at all. All right. Well, thank you to Julie Huss for joining us today. Do you realize that you're our three out of four guests have been Julie or Julia in the past
Oh,
week,
really?
which is
Yes.
interesting.
We're only taking Julie's or Julia's for the next month. That's it.
All right, then good. I'm in the club.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, I can give my very unprofessional little roundup. I gave it a little bit earlier, but Julie writes under JA Huss, and she writes new adult romance, romantic suspense, and science fiction. And we were drawn to her originally because Sean, do you even remember how we came across 321? But the reaction was, "Holy fuck! Look at those reviews."
I'll tell the story because we have a lot of guests on, and I don't read our guests' books that often. Yours I did.
You bastard.
Well, I don't have that much time. I write more books than I read, But
I don't even read your books, so it's all
actually.
works.
Anyway, I was reading a lot of romance at the time. Just because I want to figure that out.
Right, it's research.
Right. So I was reading a lot of romance, and I came across 321. I don't even remember what the search was, but I came across it, and I noticed two things immediately. It was fairly new. It was really high ranking. It had a ton of reviews, and it still managed to have all 5 stars shaded. And given the volume of reviews, that seemed extraordinary to me. And I read some of the 1-star reviews, which that's what you do. why are people shitting on this?
Right.
So I read the 1-star reviews, and pretty much to a T, everyone I read, I thought, well, you sound like an asshole. It made me really want to read the book. So I bought it and I read it, and I got maybe 4 or 5 chapters in, and I sent Johnny an email, and I'm like, dude, you got to read this book. This is really, really good. And Johnny, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was the first, if not the only, romance book I've ever told him, look, you have to read this one. I would tell him.
Yeah, but you're leaving out the part where you were sending me excerpts. There was that.
Yeah, it was.
He was like, "Look at what's in this book. It's awesome."
Yeah, it was great because it was dark. It was very suspenseful. The character work was fantastic. The dialogue was believable. It ticked all my boxes. And I was reading a lot of stuff that, it just, like, I understood why people liked it, but it didn't do anything for me personally. And this, I thought, was just a very well-crafted story. And so
Thank you.
I'm thrilled to talk to you because I have respect for you as all your street team stuff is fantastic. And actually, let me get to that because I like this book so much. And when I got to the end,
you will get a chance to speak, so don't leave. I know
Maybe.
Go
ahead, ramble on, Sean.
When I got
Keep going. I love it. Keep going.
This is relevant, bitches. So I got to the end. And when I like a book, like I really want to read the author's note, right? And Dave, we've talked about that a bunch of times, right?
We do author's notes all the time.
Right. That's why they bond. And so the end of Julie's book is, it didn't say author's note. It said end of book shit. And I thought, oh my god, I love this author. She calls her author's note the end of book shit. And so I'm reading it and I'm laughing out loud because the voice is just so wonderful and it's so human. And she's saying things like, yeah, I'm not even going to edit this because I'll be lucky to get it to my editor in time. And I'm like, oh, I just want to hug you. And so, but I really saw it. Like, it made sense to me. Okay, so you write this really great book where, the character work is great, the suspense is great, and then you get to the end and you're a total human and you ask your readers for a favor, boom, like this works. And so I think, I don't know, it was 5 minutes after that, Johnny and I started wanting to get you on the show. So welcome.
That was awesome. Thank you so much. And I'll just tell you that I thought about this book for a year before I wrote it. And I actually thought my career would be over if I published this book under my own name. Like, I seriously, 100% knew in my heart that this was fucked up. Like, the whole thing was just wrong. And, like, I debated with my assistant for months. I'm like, I don't know. Should I just make up a porn name or something? I can be like, I don't know, something stupid. And finally, I'm just like, that's just too much work. So I'm just going to put it out there, and whatever happens, happens. And so I don't know why this is the book. You know, I think writers always ask themselves, why this book? Because I don't think it's my best book. I think it's got a really good ending, but I can point to maybe 5 places in the middle where I'm like, I hate that scene. You know, totally. Like, because I write so fast, you know. I think I said in my end of book shit that I wrote this in 40 days, and that was exactly the number of days it took me to write that book.
Yeah, I think it was 41.
Yeah, it was like...
Which gave Sean an erection, let's just be clear.
Yes, because, okay, yes, I'm actually glad, because I probably would have forgot that point, but it's important, because, okay, go ahead, everybody, make fun of
What's important, your erection?
No, not my erection. No, the fact that, you know, there's this thing.
He only gets one a year, so we're good.
It's 2 times a day at least. All right. No, there's this whole thing where I truly believe it's one of my core tenets as a creator that the faster you write, the closer you come to your natural voice. And I think that sometimes that requires a lot of editing, you know, to really mine the best possible meaning. But I don't think that pouring over every sentence and, you know, making sure that it's just so exacting. I think that kind of self-editing can really get in the way of storytelling. And, you know, we tend to tell stories definitely on the faster side. And I think that actually often, not always, but often it contributes to our quality rather than detracts from it. And when I read your book and I thought this book is so good, and then you said this took me 41 days, I about cheered. And I did send that excerpt to Johnny. I'm like, 41 days, see, 41 days. And
my assistant was like, you are going to piss off every author in the world if you put that in there. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Because that's how long it is.
Yes, you're going to piss off a lot of them because then it becomes about them and what they can't do instead of about you and what you can do. So, bravo.
Other authors can be rather petty, so fuck them.
We all are petty at points, but, you know, we should really lock it away, not have it in public.
This reminds me of that scene in Caddyshack where Rodney Dangerfield is insulting the guy's pants, and he says, "It looks good on you, though. Hey, SPP, not you guys. You're awesome."
So what made you decide to go ahead and put your name to it instead of a porny name?
Well, because I would have to start all over, right? Like, is the pen name going to be a secret? Then I couldn't use my street team. I can't use my Facebook page, and it's like, why did I build all this stuff up if I'm not going to use it to promo my book? And then I thought, I really did love the story, and I really, really loved the ending. And I mean, I cried every time I read it. There are certain points where, you know, it gets to me because it's pretty emotional. So it's like I felt like I would be cheating the book if I didn't at least try and give it a good send-off. So that's why I don't do pen names, and that's why, like, I'm writing some science fiction for next year, and I'm not going to use a pen name because it's just too much work.
Dave, you want to weigh in on that?
Yeah,
Dave has many opinions about our not use of pen names.
No, I've come around on it. I do think in some instances, if you set an like if you're writing humor, man, there's a lot of feedback there. If you're writing humor or something, and then you try to write like straight up drama or horror, you might run into a problem there because you're setting audience expectations.
And I think if I had started with a pen name with my science fiction, I think it would have been better by far if I had 2 names for those 2 genres. But the fact that I don't, it's kind of put me in the corner where I really don't have a choice. Because, you know, JA Huss is just big now, and so it's just too hard for me to give it up and start all over again. It's just, I just can't find it in myself to come up with that kind of, you know, I don't know, I just don't have the will, I guess.
Well, clearly you've made it work, so I think you're an exception to my rule on it anyway. And other people have made it work as well, so I mean, that's just, you know, it's a personal thing. But if you make it work, then hell, you made it work. Congratulations.
But I think if I were like I have some ambitions to maybe write some straight thrillers. I think if I were to do that, I might try and just forget about the JA Huss and go probably be a man if I was going to do that. Like if I was starting to write science fiction again, I would definitely be a man instead of a woman, and just not talk to anybody.
Now, I saw you say that you really wanted to write space opera at some point, and it wasn't really doing well. Now it seems to be doing well on Amazon, at least. Is that one of your plans to get back into that?
I'll probably do a series, but it wouldn't be a space opera type of thing. Probably more of a dystopian or post-apocalyptic thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's I mean, there's a hundred things that we could talk to you about, but let's talk street team, because that's, I think, we're trying to build out our street team right now. It's something we've done loosely and not at all paid due attention to, and it's the sort of thing that allows you to launch a book, astronomically and get all those reviews. So, what can you tell us about building a good street team? And I don't know if you're willing to share like numbers or anything like that of people on your team.
I have, I think, maybe 36 people on the team right now. It's not very big. It's actually pretty small, and we just went through a little bit of reorganization. So a few people left.
I'm sorry. Can I cut you off for a second? Your street team, the people who you are sending the book out to reviews, is only 36 people?
My street team is only 36 people, but I do have an ARC list, and that's about 70 people. We handpicked, like we put out an ARC request in January, and we were like, okay, who wants 321? And we got 700 replies, and I was like, fuck that shit. I am not giving my book away free to 700 people. Like,
Dave
That is
loves
like
you.
me!
Yeah.
Dave loves you so much right now.
So we handpicked. We asked them for very detailed information. I'm only interested in giving free books to super fans. So if you're a super fan, you leave reviews. So we asked everybody for their Amazon profile, and we checked to see how many JA Huss reviews they had. And
If they hit you with any 1 stars, those fuckers.
yeah, 1 star is definitely never getting an ARC ever. I mean, that's just common sense, okay? Because the review ARCs are for people who are going to get your book, right? They're going to understand your story, and generally they like what you do because it's a promo thing for the author. It's not for the reader. And so I hammer that home in my fan group, and when they ask, I always tell them that this is not about you. This is about me, and this is my release day. And if you want a free book from me, I expect a review on release day. And if you can't do that, that's fine. Maybe next time you can, but you don't get this book if you can't do it this time. So we're really strict about who gets a book. And I think for 321, we sent out, including my street team and the ARC list, I think about 125, I think. So pretty much everybody buys the book after the ARC, because I don't put end of book shit in the ARC. So, and they all want to read that. That's like the big thing at the end of the book, right?
Oh, that's ninja.
They all want to see what I'm going to say, because I'm like a loose cannon sometimes, So they almost all buy the book, and so that's why almost all the reviews were verified on release day, is because they had the book early and they bought the book. And then, so that's how that happened. And I don't tell them to buy the book. They don't have to.
Right, so their benefit for getting the book as an ARC isn't because they were trying to save a few bucks. It's because they're just that anxious to read it early. Like,
right, exactly.
That's awesome. That's a best case scenario then.
Because I'm not giving anything away for free. I don't have any free books. I'm not into the free book. I mean, I never say never. So there, could be a time when I have a free book. But my fan group knows that. And it's not even about the money. It's just that I want the right person to find my book, because I don't want to piss people off. That's not my goal in life, is to waste people's time. I want only to find the fans. And so fans don't mind doing that. They like to get the book early, and they're more than happy to leave a review.
Can I be the first one to say, what the fuck? That's not the answer that I expected at all. I think we were all expecting you to say that you had like 1,000-person street team.
Oh
So-
no.
Locked in a
So
basement. in
you're
Singapore.
you're getting 200 to 500 reviews almost immediately from just normal fans who bought it and are leaving those great review averages.
Yeah, I mean, most of those I have no idea who they are. Usually, I mean, I always know my street team, even though they have different names on there. I can usually pick them out by where where they live. Like sometimes I'm like, Jessica, did you write this? Because I see it's from Minnesota and I really liked it. And so she was on my team and she's like, yeah, that was me. So they don't like come in and say, they do leave a link, usually to my assistant Jana. But it's like I don't track that too much. So most of those that are on there, well, I mean, almost all of them at this point, there's over 1,000 now. Those are all just people I don't have no idea who they are. So they're not the street team. Or they could be the fan group. Like I have a pretty big fan group on Facebook with over 2,000 people. But I don't consider that a promo team. Like I never asked them to do anything. They're just there hanging out.
Well, they
We
are.
should change the name of the show to Building a Big Fan Group with JA Huss because apparently the secret sauce is something different than we anticipated.
No, but that's
Really?
awesome. It's almost like the street team is lighting the dynamite, and
Yeah, that's kind of what it is. It's like, and these girls, they don't all leave me good reviews. I mean, they don't leave 1 stars or anything. If they're really that unhappy with my books, they wouldn't be on the team. But they give an honest review, and they like some books and they don't like some. And I would tell you that 321, it wasn't everybody's favorite. So the fact that it caught on to the general public, it just really took me by surprise because it's not a mainstream book. So I really don't understand what happened.
Yeah. Actually, I'm even more impressed now because when, like Sean said, so those of you who haven't published a lot of books or don't necessarily have a lot of reviews, getting a 5 stars shaded, meaning that your review average is 4.75 or better, it probably had 500-600 reviews when we ran across it, Sean, something like that.
yeah, something
Is
like that.
really, really, really fucking hard. It's like nearly impossible. So I figured that you just had a bunch. Not that I mean, street team. That they're not hand. I mean, they are kind of handpicked, but it's not like you're saying okay. They're not cherry picked. They're not like okay, this is a 5-star reviewer. But that said, those are your most loyal people. So I figured you just had a ton of people who were really, really inclined to like it because they were part of the street team, and that was how you had gotten that average. So you just got it. I don't know. I'm just super impressed. That's really amazing.
Thank you.
I
So
think
go ahead.
I think part of it is the genre that she's in. I think those readers, they like to talk about their books. A lot of readers are like antisocial hermits, and they read a book and maybe they'll post something on Goodreads, but they don't really have a dialogue about it like her readers are and other like romance readers. They like to talk. It's more of a
Sean,
social
are
thing.
you
They talk to one
surprised?
another.
What'd you say, John?
Because Dave hasn't read the book, so I'm wondering, Sean, if you're as surprised because Sean and I both love the book. It's definitely off center. Like it's
Oh, and
dark.
it's dirty as
It's
shit, too.
so I'm surprised. I mean, pleasantly surprised. That's makes me have faith in humanity.
No, but
Dave?
okay. So one of the things that made me love it so much is that how unapologetic it is. I love unapologetic fiction. I love unapologetic nonfiction. I love books with strong voice, and the book has a really strong voice. And Lexi's stuff has a very strong voice. We have an author named Lexi Maxwell, and she writes. She's unapologetic, but as we try to, she used to write. She has the opposite trajectory as you. She used to write way dirtier stuff, and the line has gotten a little cleaner over time. And as it's gotten cleaner, people have paid less attention to it. People
Right.
actually want it to be dirty, and so I don't know. It gave me hope because that's the kind of story that she really wants to explore is the darker side. And your story was so unflinching from that, and I think that. It's not that I don't think it was successful because it was dirty. I think it was successful because it felt honest. There was nothing apologetic about it. I read that story and I felt like the author was really confident and really in charge of her story and knew these people, and that's very attractive to a reader.
Well, I think that's like one of my main goals. I never really thought about it as unapologetic before, but yeah, I don't want my characters like I guess the way I think about it is, and this is kind of how I live my life, is that I don't want to live the same life as everybody else. So I try to make characters who are living kind of on the edge or outside of normal society. And I always make it a conscious decision for the strong voice in the story, because there's nothing worse than somebody who's like hedging on their bets about their choices, you know. So I like the characters to embrace the choice that they make, even if they're bad choices, and then learn to deal with the consequences. And so that's kind of what I was doing in that book. It's like these guys are porn moguls. They made, you know, $1 million, and that and the main character arc, that was his whole dilemma through the whole book, is that he wants to be a porn mogul. Like this, he's digging it, you know, like he's making money, he's living the life, and then this girl reminds him of what he's doing there, and he doesn't even want to face the fact that this was not his conscious choice when he came to the town. And then, you know, so that's his arc that he's exploring with these two other people.
I'm just looking at your Amazon page and noting now how many, I just didn't catch it before, how many have high numbers of reviews and high, like the 5-star shaded. So is there anything you could do to dissect, because obviously the one answer is write good books, but is there anything that you could distill out for the audience in terms of what do you think is sort of the key to your fan engagement then?
I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not even like a social person. I'm like your typical I hate everybody kind of writer. Like, seriously, I'm not into like socializing. I'm not. And then
You're my soulmate.
all these people just like showed up, and they're like, we, you know, we want to help you. And I was like, okay, I guess these are my people. And it's just been really, really great. So I don't know. I really don't know. All I know is that I tried to tell stories that like you said, were just honest, and I tried to make the characters figure it out for themselves, and I try not to make it easy for them. And I think I almost always nail the ending. And I think if you nail the ending, people forget about those 5 scenes that I hated in the middle, you know, because all they see is the ending.
It stuck with me. It did. I was thinking about it for days afterward.
What she just said about, you know, being antisocial and stuff and writing about people on the edge, you know, maybe people that might be a little misfit. I think people that read these books, they identify with that, and that's their people, and that makes them want to get behind her even more. I mean, we've noticed, you know, some of that with some of our stuff where we write about, you know, people that are kind of marginalized and stuff, and people connect, especially like with the authors, and I'll get email all the time from people like, you know, I went through some shit just like that, and, you know, thanks for writing this, and I love stuff like that. I think she's writing, and she's caught the imaginations of these people because they relate in a way, and I think that makes them want to help her even more. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I know it's not a sexy answer at all, but I think that the secret sauce here is write a really good book that's just way above average, that with characters that emotionally resonate, and be honest. And, you know, it's hard because there is a little lightning strike there, but it's also like preparing for success. It's not that Julie got lucky here. It's that she did the hard work, and when the success was there, she was prepared for it because she wrote something that it was easy for people to respond to, I guess.
And I don't think anybody had explored, at least not in a very popular book, like high ranking or very visible book. They have never explored a threesome where the 3 people were all truly in love. And I think that was the goal. Like, I knew right away before I started writing that these 3 people were absolutely 100% in love. and it wasn't going to fall apart because of jealousy. And so that was like my whole goal through the whole thing, is just to keep it so that, like, the tagline is not everything should come in threes, but the last sentence of the book is everything should come in threes, because it was good for them. Like, I mean, it wasn't going to last, because that kind of thing can't last. And so I had to hammer that home in the end. But I think that was my major goal, and I think that's what people responded to about that aspect of the story, is that those two guys were both best friends, and they figured out a way to share this girl and then share their love for each other too, in a way that was new. And so I think that really just surprised people.
How did we didn't really pin this down, but how did the audience respond to, because you said you thought it would be a career wrecker, right? So going from something that was more traditional, not as dark romance, and then releasing this, were there people who sort of said, wow, that's awesome, or fuck that, or I want more of the clean stuff, or give us more dirty shit, or anything like that? Has it changed how you write and approach new stuff?
I mean, I had some pretty, I have a pretty dark storyline going, and this book was 321 is a spin-off of another series I have called Dirty, Dark, and Deadly, and it's about like a shadow government and assassins and all that stuff. So I've been writing the suspense, the dark suspense, for a while, and I kind of just stick in those erotic scenes to keep putting it in romance, but I'm really just writing thrillers with sex. So I had written a bunch of those. So I think the people who had read me before, they were like, this is Julie. This is what she writes. And then the next book was much darker. And I'm really surprised I got good reviews for that book, but they still seem to like it.
No,
I don't know.
You're just fucking with people.
And so I think I have a nice collection of dark and lighter stuff, but no, people said write more, and I'm like, I don't have another story like that, you guys. Like, sorry, that's the only one. That was an amazing concept, and so I guess that goes back to why it was successful, is because it was an original premise, and I explored it a little deeper than anybody else.
So one of the things I've heard from a lot of romance authors I know is that you kind of have to have a happy ending, otherwise the readers will revolt. Is that something that you would agree with, or do you buck that trend at all, or no?
No, I agree. And 321, in my opinion, has a happy ending, but my editor was like, that's not a happy ending. And I was like, okay. So she's like, you have to put a warning on it when you put it up on Amazon. And so I did. But I thought that was a happy ending. I didn't know. But everybody's version of happy ending is a little bit different. So yeah, I always have the hero and heroine together at the end.
I think it was a happy ending.
I thought
but
it was
I can
a
see
happy
why
ending.
people would, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Julie, one thing too that I think, because indie publishing, is certainly easier than the old traditional route. I think that a lot of writers are kind of impatient and tend to be a little bit spoiled, if not altogether entitled. They want, I want to get my book bad. I want to get all my sales, all of that. But a lot of times it's just a matter of doing the work and getting better at your craft. And seems like you really nailed that. How many books did you write before you got your lightning? How much, even if it's not stuff that was published on Amazon, but just by yourself that you did? How many how close to the 10,000 hours have you been shipping?
I think I have I don't even know, because I one of you guys, I told that I used to write nonfiction, because I'm a scientist. I'm not a writer. I don't even have a degree in English or anything. So I went to school to be a veterinarian, and then I went and got my master's in toxicology. So that's like my background. So after I finished my master's degree, I decided to write science books for homeschool parents. And so I wrote more than 200 of those. I mean, I did it. I published something every week for 2 years, every single week. And that doesn't even include and I made online courses too. So like they can go and take the course online and everything. Like I had a whole school set up. So then I decided I was going to write some science fiction. So the number of fiction books that I wrote was in the 20s before 321 came out. And I would say I had already written 10 or 12 books before I really started making serious, numbers. So yeah, it wasn't an overnight thing for me at all.
How has that background understanding all the the homeschooling marketing and all that stuff, has that so it was me that you were talking to.
Okay.
And you said that you heard about us and we were marketers who wrote books, and I went, no, like we we do, but we're not like that, not in that way. But is like, how has that helped? Like, being an indie, has that been the sort of thing that it's like, okay, I understand the market rather than just the art?
It helped me a lot to know what not to do when I switched to fiction. Like, I made a lot of mistakes with the nonfiction, like trying to get a newsletter list with a bunch of people on it, or Twitter with a bunch of people on it, and it's like those numbers are useless if they're not fans. And so I think that was my takeaway from the nonfiction, and that's what I went into the fiction with. My main goal is I'm only interested in fans. And so I don't care about the general public. I don't care about the general reader. I'm only looking for people who are looking for what I'm doing. And so that's one thing that I took away, is that finding the fans is where it's all at.
How engaged do you have a mailing list in addition to Facebook and all this stuff?
Yeah.
And do you give away free books with that too, or?
I give away paperbacks. I give a lot of paperbacks away, but I don't ever give away ebooks.
What are your I don't know if you want to share numbers, but I'm just wondering what your open and click rates are like. I'm basically wondering how engaged your list is.
I think they're pretty average. I mean, it's always above the average they have on that graph, but I think everybody's is.
Yeah, that average is pretty terrible.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's like 50% will open, and I don't know, 30% will click.
That's a pretty engaged list. What else are you doing to build engagement? You did mention giveaways, and actually on your site, which is jahuss.com, I believe, I don't have it open.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I saw a lot of giveaways and stuff. Is that something that you found does a lot? Well, okay, so 2 questions. Number 1, is it something that you find draws new people to you, or do you think it's more? Is it more about rewarding the people who already love you, or is it more about getting more publicity for your books?
It's more publicity, because I think the sharing and everything that they do, that I have set up, is important for buzz. And even if people aren't interested, if they just keep seeing it over and over and over, one of these days they're going to take a look at it, or they're going to hear about it from somebody else and remember the fact that they saw it somewhere. So I think all that is good. And I think for me personally, the giveaways were key. It's a really easy way, and pretty inexpensive way to get that sharing. That if you don't have money for a Facebook ad, you could do it yourself with the giveaway, and just ask for shares. And if you're worried about Facebook coming down on you for asking for a share, you just put it on your blog and tell them to go to your blog and do the Rafflecopter there. And there's so many ways around. And I guess if that would be the secret to my success, is that there is no such thing as a barrier. It's like I always have a workaround. So they can make any rule they want. I'm going to find a way to work around it. So I could care less what Facebook does. I'm always going to find a way around it. And so I think that's what people new to marketing, they have to start thinking like outside of the box. And like, Rafflecopter has this new rule where you can't have a like this Facebook page button. But you can make your own button and put a link in there and say, go like my Facebook page. So, I mean, there's always a way around it. And so I always find the loophole. So if people don't have money to run Facebook ads, and I think that was a big part of my success with 321, because I did have the money to run those at that point, and I had made a commitment a month before it released that I was going to spend serious money on it. If they don't have that kind of money, because they're just starting out, they got to find a way around it, and I did that with giveaways.
I have too many questions. My because okay, so I can put them in a row, and know Dave has a question too, and so I'll let Dave get in. So I'm not monopolizing. But when you sort of answered half of my question about the giveaways, I was going to ask if you were using like King Sumo or something like that. But you're using Rafflecopter, so can you dissect what it is in that giveaway that like that there's a social sharing built in, and then that spreads you to new people, or they get more entries in a contest like King Sumo if they share it. How is that building your reputation?
Well, all my Rafflecopters are set up the same. Like I've done so many of them now that I just, duplicate them. So they have all these basic things in every single one of them. First of all, they have a great prize. It's almost always a signed paperback and a gift card. And if it's a release day, it's a big gift card, $50 or $100. And the signed book, because the signed books are really popular with me. I don't know why, but those really are good giveaways. So I always have a good prize. And I always have go share this Facebook post entry. I make it with using a link, so it's a make your own option. I always have a go like and comment on this same Facebook post. I always have a like me on Twitter, retweet, go like my Facebook page, and I always have a leave a comment because I run them on blogs when I do a blitz through the person who organizes my blitzes. And the comments really matter for the bloggers, even though it doesn't do anything for me. The people who host the giveaway on their blogs, they get comments on their blog, and that drives traffic. So that's like a courtesy to the bloggers. But I always do the same things, and every once in a while mix it up and ask them to join my newsletter, but generally I don't. I'm going to start doing that a little bit more, but I usually don't ask them to join stuff like that. I usually do ask them to join the share post that I run on release day, which is a totally separate list than my newsletter. It's just a list of people who are interested in promoting me on release day for that particular book. So every book has its own promo day share post list. So I usually put that in there, and they have a separate prize. So if they get on that list, they're automatically entered for another prize. And then on release day, I send out a newsletter to that list, and everybody goes and tweets and shares the post that I post on Facebook.
So one of my questions was, do you launch it at full price for your books, or do you have like a sale for like the first day or two, or?
Usually I launch at $2.99, and then when I know I'm either going to make a list like USA or New York Times, like if I know I'm not going to make a list, like I knew the last book was not going to make a list, so I raised the price after a few days to $3.99. That's my regular price. But if I think I'm going to make the list, I'll leave it to $2.99 until that window is closed. Like I know I'm going to make the list, or that reporting period is over, and then I'll raise it to $3.99. But I almost always release at $2.99.
And you never do like a 99-cent sale or anything?
I hardly ever do sales. I think sales really programs your readers to look at your book as you can get them on sale. And my readers know they can't get them on sale. Like they're not going to go on sale. 321 hasn't been on sale yet, and it probably won't be until maybe next year. I'm just getting ready to put a series on sale that released last summer, and people have been bugging me, when are you going to box this up? Well, when it's done making me money, I'll box it up and give it away for a low price, but it's not done yet. So that's kind of how I look at it.
And have you had books on KDP Select? Do you have them?
I have. I had that social media series on there, and it did really well. I mean, it really, really did well. But they were promoting me. That was like a deal they made with me to put it in there. But no, I don't have anything else in there now.
Okay.
So here's one of my questions from that thing earlier. So you mentioned you did Facebook ads for 321. So you literally one book, like one book that you're launching, and you ran Facebook ads, and that was a profitable thing for you. You were able to make that work.
Hugely successful. Yes, hugely successful. I have been, and I have like, I have special consultants that I use for Facebook. And he was just looking at my account the other day, and I'm like, is it doing good? Like, what's going on? I don't know what's going on in there. He's like, yeah, Julie, if you spend $600 and you get $1,100 back, that's good. And I'm like, okay, good, because I really don't know what I'm doing. But I've spent a lot of money for 321. I think it would be somewhere in the neighborhood of $17,000 on Facebook ads. And obviously, I made that back I can't even tell you. I'm embarrassed to say how much money I made off that book. That's how much I made.
I love the shit you're taking for granted that is so not the sort of thing that I would ever take for granted. A Facebook ad for an individual book, I would never think of that, especially at
Really?
$3. No, so how are you?
Yeah,
Are you just
the ROI is hard to get. Like a box set that's like $5.99, that makes sense. But your conversion just has to be crazy great for a $3.99 book.
So are you doing just a book cover and a blurb? I mean, can you break that down any?
I make all the ad graphics myself, and I've noticed that the book covers do worse than the ones that just have a picture. And I really tested it out with different copy, and I think the less words that you have, and if you don't have a book cover, at least for 321. For 321, the ones with the book covers didn't do as well. But I have another series that I run ads for, and it has 3 books on it, and that one does really good. That's the one that's making money right now, where my Facebook guru is like, "You're insane. What? This is good." And I just needed some affirmation that what I was doing made sense. So I don't know. You just have to test it because they all do different. And then the ones that I would think would do well, have 5 stars, 900 5-star reviews, sometimes they just don't even look at those. It's weird.
Wow. Okay, so do you guys have any? We're at 4:00. Do you guys have any final questions for Julie?
No,
Sean
but I so appreciate you being here. This was great.
Thanks for having me.
So, what's the best call to action here? JAHuss.com. Check out JA Huss on any of your favorite bookseller. What would you like to send people to?
Oh, they could just look me up on Amazon if they want, find my author page, and then look through and see if they see anything they like.
I do have one. I do have one question actually. So if I was to read one more J.A. Huss book, what's the next one I should read? I know you don't think 321 is your best, but I want to read another one. So
sci-fi one.
I pre-ordered Meet Me in the Dark one before
anything.
it came out.
I just want to read. What are you most proud of? That's the one I want to read.
I would read the Ford book. It's a bundle called Slack Taught. And so Ford is my favorite character, and that is my favorite book.
All right, cool. I'll read that next.
Okay, Julie, please hang on through the music, and we'll just sum up a little bit. But for everybody who is listening, thanks for listening to the Self-Publishing Podcast. We'll see you, I don't even know at this point because we're so far off schedule, but we'll see you next week if you're on the audio feed. Thanks for listening, everybody.